What's up, guys? How's it going? Mr. Arnold coming back for another ODFP showcase, another old dead famous people showcase. And in today's video, we are going to be talking about King Louis XIV of France. Let's give him a round of a sound, ladies and gents. Let's give him a round of a sound. He's going to live between the years of 1638 and he's going to die in the year 1715. And he's going to rule France for a very, very long period of time. 72 years, that's a long time. Now, in order to fully understand King Louis XIV, you have to understand what French society was like during his reign. French society in the 1600s was very rigid, in which people were basically separated into three estates. You had the first, second, and third estate. The first estate made up 1% of France. That would include the clergy, the people of the Catholic Church, people such as priests, bishops, cardinals, the list goes on. The second estate would be 2% of France, nobility, landowning elite. And they are going to work together, the first and second estate. Yes, you might be thinking the 3% of France are going to work together. What's going to happen to the other 97%? Well, they're going to make the third estate, and unfortunately, that 97% of people are going to have to pay for everything. They're going to have to pay for the bill that Louis XIV is putting forth by building his massive palace at Versailles, by taking part in very costly wars that are outside of his country. The third estate is going to be taken advantage of here. And we're going to see the first and second estate really buddy up and work together in what we call the Estates General. The Estates General served as the legislative body / branch of France. It was supposed to limit or check into the boards the powers of the monarch. However, it did not meet for a good 175 years. Mind blown. 175 years, that's ridiculous. And each estate would get only one vote. So when you're thinking each estate gets one vote, a total of 3 votes, the first and second estate would vote together, leaving the third estate out and essentially screwing them over, okay? And this is important. Why? Because King Louis XIV is going to centralize his power. He's going to be able to recognize this, and he is going to find friends that are both nobles and members of the clergy, and that's going to allow him to suck in all his power and really run with it and control France without any opposition for the rest of his time as a living, breathing human being. It's really sad, but it's just the way it was. Now, in order to understand King Louis, you have to understand some of his characteristics. He's similar to his great-grandfather, Philip II, in which he firmly believed in the divine right to rule. He took the sun as the symbol of his absolute power and developed the nickname, the Sun King. Now, the reason for this nickname, you might be asking, just as the sun is in the middle of the solar system and all the life revolves around it, the same can be said of Louis' France. Everything was centered around him, whether that's political actions, whether that's social interactions, or economic decisions. He was often quoted as saying, "L'été, c'est moi," which meant, "I am the state," which referred to the basic fact that he had no political rivalries and had unlimited power. And the reason why he's going to have unlimited power is because from a very early age, he's going to experience a life-changing event called the Fronde. Soon after Louis became king, disorder swept across France in an uprising known as the Fronde. In this uprising, you had nobles, you had merchants, you had peasants, and the urban poor. They're all going to rebel in order to protest the royal power of King Louis XIV. Now, it's important to remember that this occurred when Louis was very, very young. He was still a young boy. And he and his family had to be driven out of the royal palace in Paris. Why? Because the rioters were gaining on him. They were gaining quickly, and they had to leave for his own safety. Now, this was a life-changing experience for Louis because he would never forget the fact that he was actually being challenged at one point in time. Even though he was a very young boy, there were people that were willing to challenge him. So he made sure when he got old enough, he would rule, not only with power, but authority, okay? And that would shape him in his rule of France. Now, you might be asking, let's get a little bit more specific. How did he centralize his power? Well, if you look at certain social interactions that were occurring in France, Louis played a role in all of them, essentially. But one I want to talk about is the persecution of the Huguenots. Louis saw France's Protestant minority, the Huguenots, as a threat to religious and political unity. In 1685, he revoked what was called the Edict of Nantes, which allowed Protestants, the Huguenots, to practice their worship freely. He's going to take that away, and as a result, the Huguenots are going to scamper across all of Europe. They're going to leave France. Now, this is a dumb decision by King Louis XIV. Why? Because just like in the Spanish Inquisition with the Muslims and the Jews, who helped out Spain achieve that golden age. Well, the Huguenots are going to leave France, and it's going to really hurt their economy and really their culture and learning and achievement. So it's very similar to, again, his great-grandfather, Philip II. In addition to not only playing a role in the persecution of the Huguenots, he's also going to be noted for patronizing the arts and helping out the arts. He helped usher in an era which we call classical art in France. This boosted French culture in the areas of architecture, in the areas of music, in the areas of drama and painting. So he played a good role as far as boosting culture in France. As far as political affairs, he had the nobles wrapped around his finger. He had nobles move with him into his palace at Versailles, and he did this why? So he could take their power and also watch over them. He was able to eliminate any rivals that he had in nobility by having them come and party with him at Versailles. Louis perfected elaborate ceremonies that emphasized his own importance. In the Hall of Mirrors, which is what you see right here, Louis would have nobles compete for the honor of his attention. As a result of luring nobles into this lavish lifestyle, we are going to see him turn what would have been political opponents into people that essentially worshipped the ground that he basically stepped foot on. And he was able to promise them not only wealth and privilege, but he was able to make it so that they had absolutely no power, and he was the one that was taking it in like a vacuum. Economic decisions. He made some good decisions as far as the economy is concerned. He encouraged the growth of industries in France, and this helped France become a world power. He had great advice from a friend called Jean-Baptiste Colbert, similar to, yes, Stephen Colbert. King Louis imposed many mercantilist policies to help bolster the French economy. For example, he had new lands cleared for farming. He encouraged the use of mining and built up luxury goods, which all helped the French economy become the richest country in the world, which is what I have already stated. But again, similar to his great-grandfather, all good things come to an end. And we are going to see the French eventually no longer become numero uno. Why did France eventually decline towards the end of Louis's reign? Here it is. King Louis poured way too much money into costly overseas wars, just so that he can expand the French border. He was constantly at war with the neighboring English and Dutch, and as a result, France fell into debt and really hurt their economy, and only led to more internal strife and conflict for the people of France. Because if you remember, the Third Estate, the poor people of the Third Estate, they're the ones that are paying for everything King Louis XIV is doing, and they're not benefiting from it. So eventually, all the poor decisions made over Louis's lifetime would come back to haunt him and the royal family later on. We're going to see the French Revolution happen after his death in 1789. He's going to die in 1715, and we're going to see the French Revolution occur in 1789. But a lot of the causes, a lot of the lead up to the French Revolution began with Louis XIV. Alright, that's all I got for this ODFP showcase. If you guys have any comments or questions or concerns, please leave me something in the comment section. And for this ODFP showcase, Mr. Arnold signing off. I'll see you guys later. Take care.